United Health says data of 100 million stolen in Change Healthcare breach. On February 21, Change Healthcare was the subject of a cybersecurity incident. United Health says data of 100 million stolen in Change Healthcare breach. On February 21, Change Healthcare was the subject of a cybersecurity incident that impacted the submission and payment of some health insurance claims and pharmacy benefits. In the U.S., CDC recommends second COVID vaccine dose for those 65 and older. Gambling poses huge global threat to public health, experts warn. In the U.S., federal judge announced that Meta, Google, TikTok must face schools addiction claims. Biden set to apologize to Native Americans for Indian boarding schools. Federal agency closes investigation into RFK Jr. over dead whale carcass, saying allegation unfounded. Musk has been in contact with Putin Russian officials since 2022, the Wall Street Journal reports. ISD report claims that Russian propaganda exploits U.S. hurricane response to undermine FEMA and Ukraine support. Mysterious monument on Capitol Hill honors January 6 with a bronze turd. OpenAI to release new AI model Orion by December, announced in a report. Meta releases quantized Llama 3.2 with 4x inference speed on Android phones. They wish this technology didn't exist. Perplexity responds to News Corp's lawsuit. 4 days ago with content kleptocracy, News Corp outlets sue Perplexity over scraped stories. Meta strikes multi-year AI deal with Reuters. Microsoft places assessment in investing in Bitcoin as a voting item for December shareholder meeting. Elon Musk owned X's India revenue and profit declined 90% in financial year 24. UBS CEO says Europe's fragmented banking markets increase costs. In Trump versus Harris 2024 polls, Trump up in 3 new surveys, Harris leads in 2 others. As per Scripps News and Ipsos poll, Americans are bracing for violence but prepared to accept election results. Election betting site Polymarket says, Trump whale identified as French traitor. In the U.S., senators press for Inspector General probe of Biden and Harris administration weaponizing Department of Justice and FTC leaks. Democratic lawmakers request special counsel investigation into whether Jared Kushner acted as unregistered foreign agent. 20 days ago it has been reported that Trump's son-in-law Kushner has discussed U.S. and Saudi diplomacy with Saudi Crown Prince. Trump says he's open to pardoning Hunter Biden. Israel names Al Jazeera reporters as Gaza militants. Network condemns unfounded allegations. Strike on Iran will make world understand Israel's might, says defense minister. With up to 1,000 missiles, Iranian officials disclose potential retaliation plans, as reported by the New York Times. IDF soldiers should refuse orders that may be war crimes, Israeli former security advisor tells BBC. CNN reports that more than 130 Israeli reservists signed letter refusing to fight in Gaza and Lebanon. Radio station in Poland fired its journalists and replaced them with AI presenters. NVIDIA supplier SK Hynix reports record third-quarter financial results amid strong AI memory demand. NVIDIA to supply AI chips to Reliance partner with Infosys TCS. NVIDIA CEO says India should focus on exporting AI rather than chips. TKO Group to acquire IMG Professional Bull Riders and on location from Endeavor for $3.25 billion. Alien Romulus sequel and a secret new Predator movie in the works at 20th Century Studios. Maurizio Catalan's infamous banana will be sold at Sotheby's. The estimate is $1 million. Trump, who says he would fire Jack Smith within 2 seconds, moves to challenge special counsel's role in election case. Newsweek comments as, Donald Trump's McDonald's shift went down best with Gen Z. Trump says U.S. is like a garbage can for the world, as he rails against illegal immigration. NVIDIA, Apple and Microsoft in race for $4 trillion market cap. Stage is set for tech stocks for another 20% move higher in 2025. NVIDIA will win the race to a $4 trillion market cap, but the long-term big tech battle might be different, experts say. Goldman Sachs announced 4 months ago, generative AI could raise global GDP by 7%. Judge sides with FTC, blocking Kate Spade and Michael Kors merger. At BRICS Summit, Putin welcomes Trump's comments on ending Ukraine war. Putin can't recall Trump threatening to blow up Moscow. At least 7 countries resisting Ukraine's NATO membership invitation, Politico reports. The Telegraph comments as Russia is on the verge of collapse. Europe cannot abandon targeted sanctions. Kiev preparing internal plan to strengthen Ukraine, Zelensky confirms. Russian lawmakers ratify pact with North Korea. As U.S. confirms that Pyongyang sent troops to Russia. South Korea warns it may send Ukraine weapons after North Korea sent troops to Russia. South and North Korea troops potentially entering Ukraine war unlikely to stoke regional conflict, analysts say. U.S. trade head urges Brazil to consider risks of China Belt and Road Initiative. As Brazil eyes China's Belt and Road Initiative, U.S. says to reconsider. India does not share Japanese PM Shigeru Ishiba's view of Asian NATO, says India's External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. China says Australia, plagued by systemic racism, after diplomat raises concerns about human rights in Tibet and Xinjiang. Europe mustn't become world's museum, Michel tells ANSA. Georgia prepares for a divisive election which could determine its future in Europe. Barnier says Italy's migrant deal with Albania does not seem doable in France. Migrants return from Albania to Italy after court ruling. Flood risk as Cyclone Dana hits India, uprooting power lines and trees. Tropical cyclones pummel Philippines, India. One day ago, it has been reported that India evacuating more than 1 million people as Cyclone Dana nears. Scientists says climate change has worsened deadly flooding in Africa. 2 cities buried for centuries beneath Silk Road grasslands uncovered by drone LiDAR. China rivalry will continue into the next decade. U.S. ambassador tells NBC News. Bloomberg comments as China plays nice with U.S. partners ahead of possible Trump return. Taiwan says blockade would be act of war as China holds more drills. Chinese official urges Apple to continue deepening presence in China. Cats can learn words faster than human babies, study suggests. Study finds most meteorites come from just 3 sources. Smoke pollution from wildfires may be killing an extra 12,000 people a year, new research suggests. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 could boost Game Pass by up to 4 million subs, but at the cost of 6 million lost sales, analysts predict. Scots Children's Hospital introduces gamer-in-residence in UK first. Nintendo Switch online playtest goes live and players immediately leak gameplay and even stream it. IDC announces that Chinese smartphone market continues growth streak with 3.2% rise in 3Q24. Apple shares private cloud compute virtual research environment, provides bounties for vulnerabilities. Apple returns to top 5 smartphone ranking in China with iPhone 16 as Huawei battle ramps up. UN report says, nations must close huge emissions gap in new climate pledges and deliver immediate action, or 1.5 degrees centigrade lost. Also, continuation of current policies will lead to a catastrophic temperature rise of up to 3.1 degrees centigrade. In the U.S., Biden administration expands tax credit for producing solar, wind, and battery components. Space Solar and Transition Labs to deliver space-based solar power to Iceland by 2030, as Fortinet warns of new critical 40 manager flaw used in zero-day attacks. Efforts by Russia, Iran, and China to sway U.S. voters may escalate, new Microsoft report says. An investigation exposes data brokers using ads to help track almost any phone. Flock Safety paid over $300 million for 17-month-old drone startup Aerodome. Apple sharply scales back production of Vision Pro. Kroger and Walmart deny surge pricing after adopting digital price tags. Amazon's AI data center dream runs into the reality of zombie facilities, higher costs, and labor shortages. Former OpenAI researcher says the company broke copyright law. Google's $2 billion Anthropic investment faces UK antitrust scrutiny. Google DeepMind is making its AI text watermark open source. Boy 14 fell in love with Game of Thrones chatbot, then killed himself after AI app told him to come home to her, the mom. To keep deepfakes from infiltrating its site, Yahoo News enlists help from McAfee. TikTok will now show its STEM feed to adults, not just teens. Adobe made its painting app completely free to take on Procreate. In Poland, antitrust authority investigates Meta for limiting visibility of posts linking to Polish media. Taiwan's Tsinghua University uses a photon to build the world's smallest, the single-photon quantum computer. OpenAI released a new approach called SCM, in sampling procedure with high quality to leading diffusion models, while using only 2 sampling steps. Biden administration urges U.S. agencies to harness AI systems for national security, as Biden administration outlines government guardrails for AI tools. In the U.S., CFPB orders Apple and Goldman Sachs to pay over $89 million for Apple Card failures. In the U.S., reportedly 15 corporations used Trump tax cuts to pump $839 billion into buybacks and dividends. Starbucks suspends 2025 guidance as sales slump 7% in Q4. Monster Hunter Wilds open beta test set for October 28 to 30th for PlayStation Plus members, October 31st to November 3rd for all. Hidden 2,000-years-old skeletons and Holy Grail Cup found in Secret Tomb, where Indiana Jones was filmed. Hallmark did not want to cast old people like Holly Robinson Peete and Lacey Chabert, suit claims. U.S. confirms North Korea has sent 3,000 troops to Russia for training and possible Ukraine combat. In the U.S., DHS is seeking more than 600 migrants for possible ties to Venezuelan gang. Terrorist attack on state-owned Turkish aerospace industries kills at least 4 people, official says. Turkey hits Kurdish militant targets after a deadly attack on defense company. McConnell says MAGA movement is completely wrong, and Reagan wouldn't recognize Trump's GOP. Justice Department warns Elon Musk that his $1 million giveaway to registered voters may be illegal. In the TikTok election, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris v. for younger voters. Donald Trump groped me in what felt like a twisted game with Jeffrey Epstein, former model alleges. Wrong way driver passes Harris motorcade on Milwaukee Highway. McDonald's location visited by Trump attracts negative reviews, causing Yelp to disable comments. Microsoft-owned LinkedIn fined €310 million by Irish Data Protection Commission. 16 months ago, Microsoft flags over $400 million charge for Irish privacy violation fine on LinkedIn. Perplexity CEO proposes revenue deals for publishers after lawsuit. Georgia election official says, battleground state fended off cyber attack likely from a foreign country. Linus Torvalds affirms expulsion of Russian maintainers, on remove some entries due to various compliance requirements thread, with the various compliance requirements, are not just a U.S. thing. HBO documentary identifies Peter Todd as Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto. Nigeria court releases Binance executive detained for months. IMF declares global fight against high inflation is almost won. The key Atlantic current could collapse soon, impacting the entire world for centuries to come, leading climate scientists warn. UC Berkeley chemists develop powder to suck carbon dioxide from the air, as half a pound of the powder can remove as much CO2 from the air as a tree, scientists say. In the U.S., doctor delays federally funded puberty blockers report for political reasons. Politico comments as, with their just over it, how Trump has converted male frustration into a movement. Quarter of Americans fear civil war after election, British The Times newspaper poll shows. Meta tests facial recognition for spotting celebbait, ad scams and easier account recovery. Ireland's new online safety code to protect children on social platforms including Facebook, YouTube and TikTok. In the U.S., Biden administration proposes new rules governing data transfers to adversarial nations, as U.S. moves ahead with crackdown on data brokers selling to 6 countries of concern. In the U.S., 26 people remain unaccounted for in North Carolina following Hurricane Helene. Tropical storm Nadine sweeps across Belize, dumps rains on Mexico, and at least 2 dead and hundreds rescued in severe New Mexico flash flooding. Egypt is certified malaria-free by WHO. Trump appears to post fake image of himself as a star NFL player. McDonald's Donald Trump worked at failed last health inspection. Trump says Saudi crown prince a great guy. Trauma-suicide plaguing Israeli soldiers upon return from Gaza, reported by CNN. Meta's Israel policy chief tried to suppress pro-Palestinian Instagram posts. Russian propaganda unit appears to be behind spread of false Tim Walz sexual abuse claims. 5 days ago, a video surfaces as Tim Walz assaulted high school student Matthew Metro in 1997. In the U.S., Congress House panel finds Trump assassination event preventable, in interim report. 1 in 5 Republicans want Trump to call election invalid if he loses. Study shows that U.S. infant mortality spiked after the right to abortion was overturned. Obesity rates in U.S. not growing for first time in a decade, but severe obesity on the rise, as announced by CDC. Fire kills 153 people after fuel tanker crash in Nigeria. Harris interview with Fox News showcases a change in strategy for Democrats with network. It has been commented as, Democrats are helping restore Fox News to cable dominance. Steve Ballmer has spent $100 million in a new twist on political giving. Arm the Public with Facts says, Microsoft billionaire fights U.S. election disinformation. Trump tax plans could exempt 93 million Americans from income taxes. Mexican Navy says it seizes 8.3 tons of drugs in Pacific. Mexico's former public security chief sentenced to 38 years in U.S. drug case. Mexican Catholic priest and indigenous activist Perez, who spoke out against cartel violence, killed by 2 gunmen in southern Mexico. The head of Mali's military junta appoints himself to the highest rank in the army. Russia pushes New World Order agenda as it hosts beefed-up BRICS summit. Bloomberg comments as Vladimir Putin is gaining in his fight to divide Europe. UK's foreign chief predicts quick end to Russia and Ukraine war if Trump wins. Egypt increases fuel prices by 10% to 17%. Hybrids top petrol power for first time in EU new car sales, AS says. It has been reported that European Union's car market continued to decline in September, and in Europe September registrations -4.2%, Stellantis -26%. Tokyo Metro raises $2.3 billion in Japan's biggest IPO in 6 years. In India, Supreme Court says secularism a core part of the constitution. Holy See and China extend provisional agreement on appointment of bishops. As Synod features Chinese members, British Lord draws attention to religious persecution. In Ethiopia, UN chief advocates for permanent Security Council seats for Africa. Brazil, Lula reiterates opposition to Venezuela's entry into BRICS. 2 months ago, Venezuelan government has authoritarian bias, says Brazil's Lula. Taiwan rejects South African demand to move its representative office from capital. China holds live fire drills on island closest to Taiwan. Cryptocurrency transactions volume spiked nearly 25% in Brazil. Brazil's central bank chief sees huge de-anchoring of inflation expectations. Peru's former president Toledo gets more than 20 years in prison in case linked to corruption scandal. Nicolas Cage urges young actors to protect themselves from AI. With this technology wants to take your instrument. Blade Runner 2049 producers sue problematic Elon Musk and Warner Brothers Discovery over highly offensive AI imagery used in Tesla pitch. As Elon Musk sued by Blade Runner 2049 producers over robotaxi imagery. Rupert Murdoch's Dow Jones and New York Post sue Jeff Bezos-backed Perplexity for copyright infringement, accuse AI firm of massive free riding. XAI, Elon Musk's AI startup, launches an API. More startups are being spun out of Klarna than any other European fintech unicorn. Chinese humanoid robot is the fastest in the world thanks to its trusty pair of sneakers, as sneaker-wearing humanoid beats barefoot bot on Gobi Fun Run. Tokyo override CG anime hits Netflix November 21st. Dracula author Bram Stoker's long-lost story Gibbet Hill rediscovered more than 130 years after it was written. Biden to honor Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee, Ken Burns with National Medals of Arts. iOS 18.1 with Apple Intelligence to arrive in the last week of October 2024, Apple confirms. Google retires Sitelink's search box feature. Netflix shuts down A Team Blue gaming studio, amid gaming shake-up. European Court of Justice rules against Sony in lawsuit over action replay cheats. The directive on the legal protection of computer programs does not allow the holder of that protection to prohibit the marketing by a third party of software, which merely changes variables transferred temporarily to a game console's RAM. Intuit seeks to scrub CEO comments on tax lobbying from Tech Podcast. 5 years ago it has been reported as TurboTax deliberately hid its free file page from search engines. ITV Studios launches Zoo 55 to lean into YouTube. Former Iron Maiden singer Paul Di'Anno dies at 66. Tom Holland to star in Christopher Nolan's next film, rumored to be a vampire movie set in the 1920s. Intelsat's 33 EGO satellite breaks up in orbit. China sets new world record with 800,000 times more magnetic field than Earth's. IUCN welcomes 12 new sites from Brazil, China, Colombia, France, Saudi Arabia and Zambia to the green list. Nearly 200 countries gather at COP16 to discuss meeting 2022 treaty pledges. In India, 3 men teased leopard in Madhya Pradesh's Shahdol. Then it mauled them. German police say pizza order number 40 came with a side of cocaine. Mark Cuban says the election is now a battle between Kamala Harris and Elon Musk, not Donald Trump, and it has been commented as Mark Cuban wants Elon Musk and Kamala Harris to be friends. Piers Morgan comments on New York Post as, Trump's genius McDonald's stunt will fry Kamala at the ballot box. McDonald's tells workers it doesn't endorse political candidates after Trump visit. Google Scholar has a verified email for Sir Isaac Newton. Hackers reportedly impersonate cyber firm ESET to target organizations in Israel. As hacker hits ESET's partner in Israel to send malware that can wipe PCs, an ESET partner breached to send data wipers to Israeli organizations. Internet Archive breached again through stolen access tokens, as the Internet Archive hackers still have access to its internal emailing tools. Kurt Vonnegut's lost board game, GHQ, is finally for sale. Britney Spears says she married herself in wild social media post. China hosts World Media Summit in Xinjiang amid human rights concerns. Trump works the fry station and holds a drive-through news conference at a Pennsylvania McDonald's. Trump selling a nearly $1 million MAGA experience amid New York rally. Breitbart reports that Trump said Madison Square Garden rally sold out in less than 3 hours. Going to be fantastic. Elon Musk's election promise of $1 million daily giveaway sparks call for probe. Salon comments as, if Trump wins, blame the New York Times. Harris has no current plans to campaign with Biden before Election Day. Harris says Trump's profanity, vulgar remarks will repel voters, and Harris says Trump's behavior demeans the presidency after vulgar remarks. ByteDance terminates intern for sabotaging project, dismisses reports on losses. In Italy, anti-piracy shield halts Google Drive. Bloomberg comments as, Russia's spies hacked the entire nation of Georgia. 3 months ago, it has been reported as Russian spy service accuses U.S. of plotting regime change in Georgia. Microsoft unveils new autonomous AI agents in advance of competing Salesforce rollout. 1 month ago, Salesforce deploys autonomous AI agents, hailing the third wave of the AI revolution. IBM introduces Granite 3.0 as high-performing AI models built for business. Granite will become the default model of Consulting Advantage, an AI-powered delivery platform used by IBM's 160K consultants to bring new solutions to clients faster. FT reports that investors turn to data centers to capitalize on AI boom, and data center capital expenditure soars 38% amid AI boom. 3 months ago, it has been reported as Moody's report reveals surge in data center demand driven by AI boom. AI can help humans find common ground in democratic deliberation, as AI mediation tool may help reduce culture war rifts, say researchers. COVID-19 linked to type 2 diabetes onset in children. Nigeria to launch 4 satellites to strengthen space tech capability. Trump proposals could drain Social Security in 6 years, a budget group says. Biden to propose that insurers cover over-the-counter birth control. In crypto, $2 billion wagered on the next president, and billions in election bets raise the stakes of the presidential race. Moldova says yes to pro-EU constitutional changes by tiny margin. Kremlin says Moldova's elections were not free, and results raise many questions. Recently, Moldova president blames interference for potential EU referendum loss. I'll stand for Russian president when Putin's gone, Navalny's widow tells BBC. Trudeau has wrecked Canada and India political relations, says expelled envoy, and Trudeau ruined bilateral ties for political gains, says India's outgoing envoy. 4 days ago, India made horrific mistake violating Canadian sovereignty, says Trudeau. In the U.S., Supreme Court rejects bid to let president fire agency leaders. TD Bank executives oversee $670 billion drug money laundering scheme, avoid jail. 10 days ago, it has been reported that TD Bank to pay $3 billion in money laundering settlement with the Justice Department of USA. MetLife said to be in talks to buy Tycoon Lee's Pinebridge assets outside of China. A week after China's war games, U.S. and Canadian warships sail through Taiwan Strait. Close your eyes and buy U.S. stocks, not China stocks, Muddy Waters Carson Block says. Brazil environmental disaster victims take case against mining giant BHP to UK court. as BHP goes on trial in London over 2015 toxic Brazil mine disaster. Ericsson signs Memorandum of Understanding to roll out 5G in Nigeria. Nigeria blocks Shell's asset sale in the Niger Delta. As Nigeria approves Exxon oil asset sale, rejects Shell deal. India says it reached deal with China on army patrols along disputed border. Brazil's Lula cancels BRICS trip after minor brain hemorrhage from fall. Putin says his presence at G20 in Brazil would undermine work there. 7 Israelis arrested for spying on behalf of Iran. Suspects accused of collecting information on targeted military bases. Reportedly, Iran leaking sensitive information on top Israeli officials. Israel strikes banks across Lebanon to hit Hezbollah's finances. IDF making life impossible in northern Gaza, UN says. BBC comments as Moscow had high hopes for Trump in 2016. It's more cautious this time. 5 months ago, Washington Post reported that Donald Trump says he would bomb Moscow and Beijing. Russia-UE trade tripled during last 3 years, Putin says. Russia and Ukraine each bring home 95 prisoners of war in UE-mediated swap. Anti-drone drone developed by Ukraine to take out Iranian-designed kamikazes. AI bubble will burst 99% of players, says Baidu CEO. Deutsche Bank and Codex AI launch white paper to explore the transformative potential of generative AI in banking. Crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler, 20 October 2024. Bloomberg comments as AI detectors falsely accuse students of cheating, with big consequences in the U.S., parents sue school that gave bad grade to student who used AI to complete assignment. Deep learning AI model scans dark matter of genomic data to find 70,000 never-before-seen RNA viruses. Anthropic CEO thinks AI may outsmart most humans by 2026. KSB.KZ acquires majority share of Turkey's Hepsiburada for $1.1 billion. FTC investigating John Deere repair practices, documents show. Embraer CEO does not deny a possible rival to the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320, as Embraer CEO says jet maker studying possibilities for a new aircraft. Ireland drafting urgent crypto laws before EU money laundering rules. European Central Bank claims early Bitcoin investors exploit new buyers. Trump family will get 75% of crypto token revenue, as Trump family gets 75% of crypto coin revenue, has no liability, new document reveals. Reportedly, Bitcoin miners take divergent paths 6 months after revenue halving. BlackRock's ETF chief says 75% of its Bitcoin buyers are crypto fans new to Wall Street. BlackRock eyes biddle for derivatives collateral in crypto exchanges. Trump fixates on Arnold Palmer as all man in showers during profane rally. Dominion monitoring misinfo after Musk, MTG revive voting machine conspiracy theories. Elon Musk gives random petition signer a $1 million check, as he announces $1 million handouts in swing states. Leaked documents show U.S. intelligence on Israel's plans to attack Iran, sources say, as pro-Iranian account leaks alleged U.S. intelligence on Israel's attack plans. U.S. investigating unauthorized release of classified documents on Israel attack plans. Kamala Harris publicly agrees with protester accusing Israel of genocide with saying, "What he's talking about, it's real." Al Arabiya reports as, a Palestinian-American cardiologist loses 175 family members in Gaza. Emirates team New Zealand Brilliance takes the Louis Vuitton 37th America's Cup to match point at 6-2. Pope Francis says, sports are the hymn to life. Harris is turning to video games and sports betting to try and win back some of the bro vote from Trump. In France, Marine Le Pen's niece starts own party but backs aunt for president. Switzerland expels Austrian far-right figure Martin Sellner. Undercover film exposing UK far-right activists pulled from London Festival, and director of far-right documentary pulled from London Film Festival says, fear is its own form of censorship. Trump says, China respects him because she knows he is crazy. 5 days ago, China deploys record 125 warplanes in large-scale military drill in warning to Taiwan, and Taiwan military on high alert as Chinese drills encircle the island. Xi Jinping calls on China's army to step up preparations for war. She says China willing to be a partner friend with the U.S. Taiwan reports surrounded by 153 Chinese military aircraft during drills. Moldova holds election, EU referendum amid Russian interference claims. EU leaders to discuss stricter measures to curb arrivals of asylum seekers, and EU leaders embrace foreign return centers to counter illegal migration. It has been commented as call for jet-set tax on Europe's frequent flyers could raise billions, and Europeans made 6% more tourism trips in 2023. From Iran, 7 individuals and 7 entities sanctioned in response to Iran's missile transfer to Russia by the European Council. Israel vows Iran will pay for Hezbollah attack on Netanyahu home. Tehran distances itself. Iran hosts joint naval drills with Russia, Oman and Indian Ocean. Cigna resumes merger discussions with Humana after talks ended last year. In the UK Whitehall, the state mechanism to deliver plan to mutualize crisis hit post office. Indian tycoon Ratan Tata dies aged 86. Video published by Ukraine allegedly shows North Korean soldiers in Russia. Captured Leopard 2 resurfaces at Russia's main tank factory. Ukraine says it struck airfield and largest explosives factory in Russia. U.S. shields Lebanese citizens from deportation amid Israel's war. Cubans struggle as power not fully restored to the island after days of blackout. Justin Trudeau testifies that Russia funded Tucker Carlson and Jordan Peterson in support of their anti-vax COVID claims. As Tucker Carlson funded by Russian propaganda machine, Justin Trudeau testifies under oath. Teen smoking and other tobacco use dropped to lowest level in 25 years, CDC reports. UN reports that 1 in 7 children and teens impacted by mental health conditions. Ozempic shows promise for treating alcohol and drug abuse, study finds. Kamala Harris defends her economic plan and insists she won't be more of Joe Biden. In a tense interview with Fox News. J.D. Vance faces backlash for referring to his children as his wife's kids in new interview. Tim Walz struggles with shotgun at pheasant hunt, gets mocked. China's rise in research papers has an unfair home bias, say U.S. and Japan studies. Japan pressed by U.S. lawmakers to strengthen chip curbs on China. Reportedly, China posts slowest growth since aftermath of zero COVID curbs. Crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler. 18 October 2024. In the U.S., Raytheon Company to pay over $950 million in connection with defective pricing, foreign bribery, and export control schemes. Treasury announces enhanced fraud detection processes, including machine learning AI, prevented and recovered over $4 billion in fiscal year 2024. FCC mandates universal hearing aid compatibility for all mobile phones. X updates its privacy policy to allow third parties to train AI models with its data. Google announces Gemini app team moves to DeepMind. Assistant now part of Pixel and Android. IMD, a Swiss business management school, has created an AI safety clock to evaluate the risk posed by artificial intelligence outside of human control. X looks to steer lawsuits to Musk's favorite Tesla investor judge. New records show Texas judge on X case didn't sell his Tesla shares after taking the suit. The specialists who authenticate trading cards for eBay are rallying for a union contract. India plans laptop import curbs to boost local manufacturing, sources say. Netflix forecasts 2025 revenue to be at least $43 billion, up 11% plus, as Netflix promises more content in 2025 after patchier than normal 2024 due to strikes. Tom Holland says he read a Spider-Man 4 script with Zendaya, but it needs work. Meta partners with horror movie maker Blumhouse Productions to test Movie Gen. Stripe in talks to buy crypto startup Bridge for $1 billion. Sam Altman's WorldCoin rebrands as World and launches updated iris scanning orb. FBI arrests man for SEC social media hack over fake Bitcoin ETF approval post. In the U.S., Google to block election ads after polls close on Election Day. Amazon will stream election night coverage hosted by Brian Williams. Independent review finds systemic Secret Service failures enabled first Trump assassination attempt. Apple celebrates 10 years of Apple Pay, with Klarna being available to UK and US users, and Apple Pay accessible on third-party web browsers and computers. ECB cuts interest rate again as inflation appears under control. Chinese self-driving startup Pony AI files for US IPO. Unity releases Unity Engine 6, with open-source AI models over Centis, automated game opponents and game outcome predictions using AI, and simpler multiplayer game creation. Voice actors in Japan create group to fight unauthorized AI use of their voices. As Yuki Kaji teams up with Code Geass and Hunter x Hunter voice actors, after AI becomes the latest threat to the anime industry. Foreign porn websites blocked in France for lack of age control checks. Trump says Apple CEO Cook called him with concerns about EU penalties. Donald Trump says Tim Cook is a better Apple CEO than Steve Jobs. EU may consider revenue from other Elon Musk businesses if it finds X, report says. Guten partners with TikTok Shop, enabling shoppable commerce powered by print on demand. Instagram announces new tools to fight sextortion and help teen victims. Blue Sky gains 500,000 new users in one day after X changes how blocking works. Carbon Mapper shares the first emissions detection images from CO2 tracking satellite. ESA's Euclid Dark Universe Telescope reveals first breathtaking images from massive cosmic atlas map. Prada and Axiom Space unveil NASA spacesuits to be used in Artemis 3 moon mission. Alien life could lurk on Mars beneath protective ice, study suggests. Half of all global food threatened by growing water crisis, report says. Ultra-powered MRI scans show damage to brain's control center is behind long-lasting COVID-19 symptoms. Google launches Notebook LM business to make enterprise AI audio text. Adobe Project Turntable makes a 2D vector drawing can be arbitrarily rotated in 3D, resulting in a 2D vector art representing the object from the new view. NVIDIA, MIT, and Tsinghua University-led Sana, a text-to-image framework can generate images up to 4096 by 4096 resolution. Eric Adams' legal hopes in corruption case could depend on Trump victory, claimed by sources. In the U.S., 4.8M borrowers, including 1M in public service, have had student debt forgiven, Biden administration says. LA Catholic Church payouts for clergy abuse top $1.5 billion with new record settlement. As one day ago, Archdiocese of Los Angeles agrees to pay $880 million settlement to clergy sex abuse victims. U.S. hits Houthis with precision strikes on weapon facilities in Yemen. Biden tells Netanyahu, it's time to end Gaza war after Sinwar's elimination. Israel says Yahya Sinwar, Hamas top leader in Gaza, killed in major blow to militant group. Disney developing Prince Charming movie, lines up director. Mr. and Mrs. Smith casting new John and Jane for season 2. Billie Eilish among those rumored. Dirty Dancing being adapted as a new Broadway-bound stage musical. With first step to World War, North Korea preparing 10,000 soldiers to join Russia's war, Zelensky confirms. Trump says Ukraine's Zelensky should never have let that war start. U.S. sanctions force Sputnik radio off the air, as 2 U.S. radio stations end Russian-backed propaganda programming. Crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler, 17 October 2024. Thomas Tuchel hired as England head coach ahead of 2026 World Cup. Famed Roman sculpture, Apollo Belvedere re-emerges after major restoration. Call Her Daddy podcast host inks $100 million deal with SiriusXM. Britney Spears reveals she is writing a novel. Win for Musk's Starlink, as India says no to spectrum auction pitch from Ambani Middle. Elon Musk's X dodges EU's DMA, as Block decides platform isn't important enough for fairness controls, as Elon Musk's X evades compliance with landmark EU antitrust regulation. TSMC third quarter profit beats expectations, as AI boom drives 54% hike. Reportedly, generative AI startups get 40% of all VC investment in cloud amid ChatGPT buzz. Amazon goes nuclear to invest more than $500 million to develop small modular reactors. In the USA, EPA can force coal-fired power plants to drastically cut carbon pollution, Supreme Court says. Deepfake romance scam raked in $46 million from men across Asia, police say. Brazil arrests U.S. Dudi hacker tied to FBI national public data breaches. 2 months ago, U.S. Dudi hacker behind $3 billion SSN leak reveals himself as Brazilian citizen. In the U.S., 2 Sudanese nationals indicted for alleged role in anonymous Sudan cyberattacks on hospitals, government facilities, and other critical infrastructure in Los Angeles and around the world. The Financial Times comments as, Meta criticized for calling its AI models open source. 2 months ago, Meta is accused of bullying the open source community, and 1 year ago it has been commented as Meta's Llama 2 license is not open source, by Open Source Initiative CEO. Mistral releases new AI models optimized for laptops and phones. Robinhood launches desktop platform, adds futures and index options trading to app. Ripple leads $25 million round in Bitnomial as the derivatives exchange launches futures trading platform in U.S. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway hikes its SiriusXM stake to 32% after Liberty deal. Activist Starboard Value has $1 billion Pfizer stake, taps former executives for help, sources say. Toyota joins with Hyundai's Boston Dynamics on AI-powered robots. Expedia shares gain on report that Uber explored making a bid. The FTC makes it easier to cancel subscriptions like streaming services, memberships and Prime. McKinsey to pay at least $500 million in DOJ opioid probe. 3 years ago it has been reported as McKinsey never told the FDA it was working for opioid makers while also working for the agency. J.D. Vance says Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election. Donald Trump bears responsibility for January 6 attack, Jack Smith argues in new filing. Trump, running for president at 78, says only stupid people put old people in top federal roles. FBI quietly revised 2022 crime data to show violent offenses rose rather than dropped. In the U.S., former GOP Representative Liz Cheney endorses Democrat Susan Wild. Trump once again tries to silence Stormy Daniels before election, claimed in a report. Italy passes anti-surrogacy law that effectively bars gay couples from becoming parents. Apple expands tools to help businesses connect with customers, as any verified business can now create a consistent brand and location presence across apps that customers use every day, including Apple Maps, Wallet, and Mail. Winamp deletes entire GitHub source code repo after a rocky few weeks.